It's Friday, March 8th of 2019, and it's the day before the big drive, or big drives. Yeah, there's a series of big drives. Well, they're not that big, they're actually relatively short. Guy's Daily Drive. And good morning. Wow. 2 daily drives in 1 week. Unbelievable. Unbelievable. And I have to apologize for the one I did too. Somehow, and these programs that deal with digital files, whether it's audio or video, a lot of what they do, I would think, is could be in the category of FM, and I'm not talking about frequency modulation, but a certain kind of magic. And when it works, when it works well, it's amazing the things that you can do. When it doesn't work well, it's amazing at how little you can do to fix it. A case in point, last Tuesday's Guy's Daily Drive. Now, somehow, even though I had the beginning part and then the credits right there in the beginning, and then all the stuff that I say, somehow or another, in the very beginning, it took the theme music that I have in the opening credits, just the audio, and put that at the very beginning. I don't know why. I look at the file, it looks fine. I look at, through the program, I look at what's on the timeline, and there's nothing there. It's just all of a sudden, for one reason or another, it put that theme music right at the beginning. So I have pulled that file up again. Boy, I'm all phlegmy this morning, sorry. Pulled that file up again, and then pushed it back out, exported. Tell it's early. I re-exported it, and it wasn't done when I left for work this morning, so I won't know until I get home. But what I will do, assuming I have the time, besides editing this one and getting this into the feed, is try to get that into the feed as well. But I'm going to be really, really busy, because when I get off work, instead of just going home, I'm driving over to where I rented the car, and we're using a different company this time. I've been using one particular company for probably 4 or 5 years, and the biggest reason why I've been using them is that they have an office that is pretty close to our house, so I can walk to their office, get the car, and drive home. Very convenient. But typically the cars that I have been getting recently have been relatively small, because it was just me going someplace, whether it was to the MacStock Conference and Expo, which will be on the end of July of this year in Woodstock, Illinois. Make sure you do not miss that. For more information, go to MacStockConferenceandExpo.com, or just Google MacStock Expo, and it'll certainly come up. Plug. Or if I was going to Florida, because the last couple times I've gone to Florida, Tracy hasn't gone with me, because she doesn't like the beach, and that was mostly my whole reason for going there, was to go to the beach. So, but this time, I laid out the trip. It's Dunn, North Carolina, Charleston, South Carolina, St. Augustine, Florida, and then Orlando, Florida, capped off on March 16th, I think. I'm pretty sure it's March 16th. I'm going to see the Orlando Apollos play the Arizona Hotshots in the Alliance of American Football. As a matter of fact, the cap that I'm wearing right now, this is the logo for the Orlando Apollos. Yeah, I still don't get that name, but, it's okay. It doesn't matter. So, I wanted a slightly bigger car. We got an SUV this time, so it'll have plenty of room for both of us and all of our stuff as we go on a 10-day, if you count the last day of driving, extravaganza, all the way through the southeastern part of the U.S. And so I chose a different company because I got this small SUV and it was like $200 less. Oh, look at that glare. $200 less than the company that I typically use for the same time period. And it was weird because I was trying to figure out a way. I was going to it's close to where I work. So I was going to leave my car at work in the parking lot there, get this rental car and go home. But it is too far to walk to where the rental car company is close to where I work. So I was going to have somebody from work drive me over and drop me off. But here's the thing, it's Friday. And we have less people than usual in the office. And the people that are there usually leave much earlier than I do, by an hour or two. And while I was talking to the car company, and they said that it would be not a problem picking up the car earlier than my reservation, but that would also mean that I would have to return the car at the end of, my time period for having that car would be Monday, but I would have to get it in at around the same time that I pick it up today. So I couldn't go get it at noon because that would severely curtail the amount of time that we have on that Monday when we're coming home to get the car back. So I said, well, what can I do? What can I do? And I was all in a quandary. And as I was talking to the person from this company, they're like, well, why don't you just leave it here? And I was like, what? Leave my car where? He says, well, this is a hotel. Just leave the car here. And I said, well, the hotel won't mind? And she was like, no, it's not a big deal, So, okay, so that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to leave my car. God, I'm talking about nothing here. I'm going to leave my car at the hotel when I pick up the rental car, and I'll just drive that home. Which means that I can stay as late as I need to stay tonight before I do go home. So when I get home, I've got to pack. I've got to get up all my electronic gear, and see, there's the other thing that I'm wondering about. Every single time I go on a trip, the amount of clothes I take is pretty much determined by how long I'm going to be gone. So if I'm going to be gone 4 days, well, then that's 5 pairs of underwear, 5 pairs of socks, because you always want to have more underwear and socks than you really need. At least 2 pairs of jeans, because you can wear jeans multiple days. And then maybe a pair of pants that's a little nicer, a shirt that's a little bit nicer, along with all the t-shirts and, weather permitting. Like if I go to Ohio in the winter, make sure I have some sweaters and a heavy coat, some gloves, things along those lines, because the weather in Ohio can be brutal. But we're going to Florida, and the weather is supposed to be, at least in the Florida part of the trip, by the time we get there, we're looking at 70s and 80s. And it's currently, let me see here, it's currently 35 degrees here in Northern Virginia, which means that I have to pack a little bit differently. I have to take, I'm going to take at least a bathing suit. I don't know if I'll get a beach day in. It may be too cold for that. But I'll have one just in case. But I'll take some shorts and t-shirts and things along those lines, as well as stuff that I'll need for slightly cooler weather before we get to Florida. But as far as electronic gear goes, sometimes I take my laptop, sometimes I don't. I find that the iPad, for the stuff that I use it for on the road, it's not like I'm going to be editing podcasts or editing video or anything along those lines. Not that the iPad isn't more than capable of doing those things. It's just, it's like, is it worth it to carry the extra weight of a laptop and the support gear for a laptop than it is to just take the iPad and know that there will be certain things that I won't be able to do as well or as quickly as I could with a laptop. Right now, I'm kind of leaning toward not taking my laptop. And you know what? I'm probably okay with that. Most of what I'm going to need a computer for, is to look things up in the general vicinity of where we are at any given point. Check my email. Check my webcomics that I look at. That's a subject for another day. And I don't know, if I do take some video, maybe do some editing, if that's how I want to spend my off time in the evenings. Though most of the evenings, if things go according to plan, are going to be pretty much jam-packed. This is a really, really busy trip. Most of my trips, even when I go to MacStock, are not quite as scripted and not quite as filled with stuff to do as this one. I mean, I'm usually after, if it's a long day of driving, when I get to wherever it is I'm staying, I'm not really that interested in going out. I would like to just kind of chill, relax from the day. Though the big difference is, when I'm by myself, I'm usually driving anywhere from 6 to 12 hours before I stop. Whereas this trip, there's not going to be a single day, other than on the trip home, where we drive more than 5 hours. And there's 2 of us driving. So going out that in the evening is not going to be that big a deal. I think the only place that isn't really scripted that well is going to be our first stop, Dunn. We get there, Tracy's going to go, as soon as we get there on, tomorrow, Saturday, she's going to go to the genealogy library and stay there probably till it closes. And I will be out and about in Springfield doing whatever. Doesn't really matter. I'll find something to do while she's doing her thing. And I'll come pick her up when she's done. So clever. We'll probably get together with some of her relatives in the area for dinner, but we're not going to be going out and doing stuff. Whereas when we get to Charleston, the evening we get to Charleston, sorry about all the bumps, the evening we get to Charleston, we will probably do the jail ghost walk that evening, because the next day we're going to the Magnolia Plantation there. And after however long that takes, plus, of course, walking around the historic section, I don't think we're going to be all that interested in doing more stuff. And St. Augustine is mostly going to be just in the area that most of the tourists hang out at. That's where most of the fun stuff to do is right there. And Orlando, I'm not really sure how Orlando is going to go. We're going to meet up with Tracy's nephew, my nephew too, but it's her sister Kelly's son who lives in that area. And we're going to get together with my family, actually on that Thursday night, that first night. That's what we're doing. We're going to dinner with visiting with my family. But this is going to be like a much busier trip than what I'm really used to, than what I typically do when I go away. So yeah, I think I'm going to leave the laptop behind and just take my iPad. Yeah, that's the plan. That's the plan. And honestly, it's one less thing. Where is it? One less thing that I have to hook up to charge for the evening. So, yeah. That's the plan. Going to be a lot of fun. I'm just looking forward to getting out of town. If you would like to help support the things that I do, as Owen Rubin and a few others have done recently, thank you all so very, very much for that. You can donate a little bit of money, help do this, help support the stuff that I do. You can do a one-time donation to ko-fi.com, ko-fi.com/MacParrot. Greatly appreciated. You can also become a regular Patreon over there at patreon.com/MacParrot. If you'd like to see more of what I do, I am also on, of course, the MyMac.com podcast. 10 years, not 9 years, 10 years that Gaz and I have been doing the MyMac.com podcast, though not this weekend, and not the weekend after that, because I won't be here. Yeah. As well as the Mac to the Future live cast that I do on Wednesday nights over there on the Facebooks with Warren Sklar and David Ginsburg, typically. Sometimes one or the other can't make it, but usually, lately they've both been there, and that's greatly appreciated. And I think that's going to about do it. You can send me email, guy@mymac.com. You can find me on the Twitters, where my handles there are MacParrot and or VertShark. You can go to vertshark.com and see all the stuff that I do. I still need to post some of the recent stuff that I've done. I haven't got it up there yet. Shame on me. However, maybe I'll do one of these while I'm out and about. Maybe, I'd be too embarrassed to do it with Tracy in the car. But there'll be times I'm sure I'll be by myself. And until then, next time, I will catch you right here on Guy's Daily Drive. Thanks again.